Alright guys, welcome back, and today we have a very controversial ad. Today we have this guy, he's got the low eyes, he's gonna blow your mind.
I'm about to blow your mind. This
He's gonna blow your mind. Alright, so let's go check him out. It's by Umzo, supplement for men, and there is some controversial reviews about this, but let's watch them. So let's check out this ad, see if it's worthy of buying.
is going to be a bit controversial, but it has some really important lessons. You might have heard the fact that bacteria and probiotics are the essence of life, and without them you would die pretty early in life. But here's what I mean. Your body's made up of approximately 10 trillion human cells and 100 trillion bacterial cells. So technically in that capacity, you're 90% bacteria. There are actually more bacterial cells in your body than there are stars in our galaxy. With that in mind, you can probably understand why having healthy bacterial flora is extremely important for your overall longevity. The first thing I want to show you is a controversial study that I learned about while studying neuroscience at Duke. It was done by a neuroscientist named John Cryan of University College Cork in Ireland. He was curious to test the stress response of mice when put into certain situations and when fed certain bacteria. So he took two groups of mice. The first group was fed a probiotic strain known as Lactobacillus rhamnosus. The second group, which was his control group, didn't receive any probiotic strains. Cryan hypothesized that the Lactobacillus rhamnosus would help with a stress response. He threw both groups into buckets of water and measured their latency to give up. There was really no way for either group to get out of the buckets. The control group, who didn't have any probiotics, would just give up. Their stress response was so high that they would swim around in circles and simply give up after 4 minutes. Cryan would pluck them out of the water before actually letting them drown. He didn't let them die. On the other hand, the group that he fed the Lactobacillus rhamnosus to would not stop swimming. They just would not give up. While the control group was ready to die at a certain point, the Lactobacillus rhamnosus group simply didn't give up. They would just keep on swimming. Afterwards, he measured the cortisol levels of both groups. He found that the control group actually had 100 times higher cortisol levels than the group that was fed Lactobacillus rhamnosus. The latter were the ones who didn't give up. They were the ones who had actually such a low stress response that they had more energy and a direct will to live. Now this is where things get even more controversial. Cryan wanted to really test this theory that Lactobacillus rhamnosus is what caused the drastically lower cortisol levels. He severed the vagus nerve of the group of mice that took the Lactobacillus rhamnosus, then he replicated the same experiment. He threw both groups of mice back into the water. What happened next was that both groups acted the same. They gave up after minutes of swimming. What this taught us is that there's a communication between the gut and the brain that actually lowers cortisol levels with this one strain of bacteria. While this was done in mice, humans have the same body structures as these mice did. We have the same vagus nerve. We have the GABA receptors in our brain which communicate with our gut with this strain of bacteria. So it does point to the fact that humans may have a similar result.
That's why we have that gut feeling.
Benefit you've probably never heard of, and it's great for men. There's a certain strain of bacteria called Lactobacillus reuteri that will help you grow bigger balls. There was a study published in 2014 that used male Wistar rats. These rats have extremely similar reproductive systems as human men. This is why they're commonly used for studies in the reproductive system. In this study, the researcher found that when fed Lactobacillus reuteri, the group of rats actually outperformed the control group on many different biomarkers. And these biomarkers included preventing age-related ball shrinkage, significantly increased ball size when compared to the control group, significantly increased ball weight when compared to the control group, significantly increased T levels when compared to the control group, increased social domination when compared to the control group, increased activity of the HPA axis, increased sperm motility, quality and quantity, and increased LH and FSH signaling. So in a nutshell, no matter what the researchers did to offset it, the group of rats that were fed the Lactobacillus reuteri always outperformed the control group in these biomarkers. You're probably wondering the same thing as I did the first time I saw these studies. Where can I get the right probiotics? What's the best way to get the right bacteria, specifically the strains of bacteria that are great for men? And how can I implement this into my diet or my supplement regimen? In terms of your diet, a great way to get probiotics in your diet is fermented food. First off, sauerkraut, which could be just sauerkraut juice, as the liquid actually holds a lot of the bacteria itself. Another good option is a good quality yogurt. Make sure you get something organic. You also could get lassi, which is an Indian yogurt, and that's another great option. You have kefir, you have fermented cheese, pickles, fermented fish, and kombucha, which is actually a bacteria and a yeast that's brewed into a tea-like drink. One issue with this is that a lot of people don't like to eat fermented foods, specifically because of their taste. Now, another option that you have is a product that we formulated specifically for men called Fluorosil 50 by Umzu. It has the right bacteria that's going to support your male hormonal health. It includes both Lactobacillus rhamnosus and Lactobacillus reuteri. Every single capsule of Fluorosil 50 has 50 billion live organisms in it. Simply take one capsule a day and you're feeding yourself 50 billion live cultures that contain the strains that you need to keep your male hormonal health in check, lower cortisol levels, and help improve your reproductive biomarkers. Fluorosil 50 is available at umzu.com.
How they surviving there? All right. Yeah, so you guys like that one? I liked it. Very controversial. I like how he kept using that word, controversial. Another thing, he used the very, very great case studies. On the other hand, rats are nice to use, but I would also like to see more case studies in humans, right? So that is a good, yeah, you could use rats and stuff, but it's not just saying by that they're similar and all that stuff. It doesn't really matter to me. Going forward with that, I'd also like over here when he goes over to the type of foods that help, he's kind of giving it away now, and that's a huge common mistake when making ads. You're kind of too detailed into it, so what ends up happening is you're gonna explain kind of what's just gonna help or what it is, and you're like, okay, I either eat my probiotics or I'm just going to go get them at the store. I don't need to buy your supplements. You know what I mean? So that's one thing that really, and I saw this testosterone ad. It was he basically did the same thing. It was he did the 5 foods or whatever that increase your testosterone. And he gave away the ingredients, but they were actually super hard to get, So it was ashwagandha and all this other stuff. So it's okay, so now I have to go actually get the supplement. Another thing too about this ad, which is good, it's interesting, and I could tell why it gets 72,000, is the fact that you over here. So where did he say? So he could put it in, or over here, a little bit more urgency, right? So again, in that other testosterone ad, there was something about our culture. It was 2020, we're always on our phone, or it's all of this, it's always being clean and sanitized, even in 2020. And something like that is killing our gut bacteria, just being clean, just being just the way of life. And he did actually a study where something amount of males are super stressed out. Again, they use the cortisol thing, and that cortisol is because their testosterone is lowered and all that stuff. So they're stressing themselves out, they're getting fat, and they're dying or something like that. Their suicide rates have gone up and all this stuff just because of stress rates, hormone levels are uncontrolled, and it's because of the lower testosterone of our generation. And this guy, he's not doing testosterone, but he could go with that gut bacteria. In a study done, we've found that I think there's a study on African gut bacteria. There is this tribe of African gut bacteria, and they've been living in villages and all that stuff, and they have almost 20 billion more species than the average American, and they've been known to live longer, whatever, you could put in whatever benefits in there, and that would kind of tie it all in. That would make me feel like I need to get this, because I'm oh shit, I need to get this bacteria back going, because I've been feeling stressed out, So that's another thing. But yeah, just taking out this, get that out of there, just because you're kind of giving it away. So or you could put these in, but you could also say, but these aren't the main. You have to eat a lot of these to get that ball growth or whatever you want. Better gut bacteria. You have to eat a lot, and a lot of people, we don't want to eat that much. We have to eat our protein and all that stuff, and we don't want to just survive off of kombucha, So yeah. And if you don't do this, your balls are gonna
It
shrink.
includes both.
Your balls are going to shrink. They are going to go down the drain, baby. So yeah, that is it for today. I liked this ad. It's very interesting. Got this handsome man. The whole time I kind of wanted to put his collar down, but but whatever. Maybe my ball size are just too small. So anyways, that will be it for today. I'll talk to you next time. If you like this, please hit that smash button. The like button. All right, we're gonna use the smash button. It's called the smash button now, and hit that subscribe. So if you want to see more videos like this, please let me know, and I'll get them off to you as soon as I can. Peace.